What is up, my friend? Welcome to episode 96 of the Anthony Johnny Mix podcast. Today, I'm going to be bringing you on one of my past clients to talk about the online business wisdom that she has acquired through dance lessons. Now, I know this may sound absolutely crazy at first, yet sometimes when we stay open to things that we learn outside of the game of online business, oftentimes we can find an uncommon advantage. So if you want to learn some wisdom about growing your online business, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Anthony Johnny Mix podcast. The one and only podcast designed to help you become unstoppable in life and business. My name is Anthony John Amix. My friends call me AJ. And my goal with this podcast is to help you remember who you truly are so you can maintain your center in the chaos, embody your potential, and unlock freedom in your life and business. That being said, let's get into today's show.
All right, welcome back. Today I'm bringing you one of my past clients whose name is Aimee Mendez. She's a professional dancer and a dance teacher who has competed and traveled all over the world. She's taught all kinds of people how to dance, from somebody like me who knows nothing about dancing. Yes, she did help choreograph my wedding dance with my wife, all the way to helping reality television stars. It's safe to say she knows how to teach people to dance. Aimee has often been approached by other dance professionals and students for consulting and training, and this is what has inspired her to create the Dance Teachers Academy podcast, which is a who's who of champion dancers and performers. Aimee has taught over 250 different couples to prepare them for their wedding dance, and that's why some of her colleagues has named her the queen of the wedding couples. But more importantly, she's learned how to take her extensive knowledge of the dance industry and use the internet to create a business that allows her to work from anywhere in the world. And she was happy to come onto the show and share some lessons that she's learned along the way and how she's had to make some adjustments to her business this year. Now, before I bring Aimee onto the show, if you've ever wanted to package and sell your expertise online, or if you're already a coach or a course creator, and especially if you're playing that game at an expert level, you already know how hard yet super important it is to communicate confidently, convey your credibility, and build a business that gives you freedom. Even though over $4 trillion is made annually in the US alone from online business sales, and yet over 90% of online businesses fail within the first 120 days. The first 120 days, it's crazy to me. And I want to give you a process that helps you identify your blind spots, embrace your true value, and unlock your highest potential in your life and your business. So if you want that process, simply go to talkwithaj.com to grab a time to talk with me. And during that call, we'll explore where you're at, where you want to go, and create you a game plan to get from point A to point B. And if that plan includes my help, we'll talk about what that can look like. So if you're serious about unlocking more power, purpose, and profits inside your life and business, grab a time to talk with me over at talkwithaj.com. So with that being said, let's bring on the amazing Aimee onto the show. Aimee, what is up? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, AJ. I'm so glad to see you virtually, but it's always a pleasure.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you about being on this podcast?
8.
Nice.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, but I have a podcast, Dance Teachers Academy podcast. Right. But I'm doing the interviewing, which to me is just ask a really great question and then just let them talk. So
yeah, it's pretty much what we do here. Same format.
Yes, I've been enjoying your podcast actually. So I'm honored to be on the podcast.
Well, what have you been doing? How have you guys been navigating COVID? I know last time I chatted with you guys were actually going to events and filming dancers, and that was a huge transformation. And then now COVID has probably kicked you in the nose. What are you guys up to?
Yeah, that's true. So we, just decided okay, we're going to just adapt. But I mean, first, when everything shut down for the shelter in place, we were actually out of town. We were in Florida. The organizer had sent us a message that said, hey, we get it if you don't want to come because everything's so weird right now. So so many people have canceled. It was a ballroom dance competition. So we were there to, film the competitors. And so I didn't get the message till we landed. I'm like, well, we're here. So do what we do. And so we did, and there was people there. And the thing is, there's there were so many unknowns, right? So there were so many unknowns. And so we did that competition. There were still people that are like, I mean, there are diehard dancers out there. They want to dance. Damn the Rona.
Awesome.
Keep doing what they're doing. So, but everyone has had to be careful and just kind of see, okay, what's going on. We got home. Zoom is really, really popular right now, although I knew about it because of coaching with you. So I had a little bit of experience, and you know me, I'm very much a creative type. I'm like, technology, you know, I love technology. It just scares me. It scares me. So my husband, Jose, he's Mr. Engineer Technology. So I talk about Zoom because I said, okay, well, for some of my students, let's start the Zoom meetings. And just keeping in mind that at first I was wanting to try to be perfect. And I was like, you know, good lighting and what am I wearing and what's behind me. And I'm always concerned about that. But sometimes it's like, just do something, anything, doesn't have to be perfect. So just experimenting with that. I also did with some of my students where I would have them video themselves and then I would critique what they were doing. That's when I was still trying to manage my own like technology things. But people are wanting to dance still. So lots of competitions have shut down, but we are in connection with a organization called World Promotions, and their dancers and their clients still want to dance. So they've managed that. And the last competition we went to was in Las Vegas, and there could only be 50 total people in the ballroom. That includes the DJ, the videographer. We had to dance with masks on, but so it's like everything on a smaller scale, but still trying to figure out, okay, what can we do more of? So Jose has actually been doing some editing of people's showcases where they start doing their own showcase, filming it, not having everybody in the studio. So he was doing that editing. We're just trying different things because we still want to have the dancers dance and be a part of that.
Awesome.
You know what hasn't stopped them?
What's that?
You can't stop love. The wedding lessons are crazy busy right now. So I've been so busy with wedding lessons, which I love. So.
Yeah. So are people coming to the studio or are you guys doing virtual sessions?
Okay, that's a great question. So with the wedding lessons, like I said, nothing is stopping them. They are, God bless them. They're just, those young couples are, all different couples are adjusting, adapting the number of people attending their wedding, but they still want to do their dance. They still want to do their really special dance. So the studio that I work with, they have a lot of things in place where you come in, they check your temperature, you have to wear a mask, you hand sanitize at the door. I do ask people, is it okay to touch you? And they're like, usually it's fine because we've all hand sanitized and temperature and all of that. But then I also have been going to people's homes. So I like to call myself Dr. Dance.
Nice.
House calls. And people really like that because if they're not comfortable with going out yet, they sure do love being at home. So I think this moment in time, you really find out how much you like your house or don't like your house. And some people are really enjoying being at home. So to them, and I just did that last night too with this couple, and they really enjoyed that. So
I really enjoy and I really appreciate how you're just kind of just rolling with the punches and just rolling with it, adapting with it. Not really, it seems like not getting too caught up in all of the fear and what I like to call bullshit, and just rolling with it. How have you managed like the emotional roller coaster of just like you had a certain way of doing things that is not able to happen, and you're doing amazing by just controlling what you can control? How are you navigating that?
Okay, so first have to be really honest. I have had some really dark moments, and I had some significant things happen, like the death of my father, which happened in May. So how I move forward is the days that I feel dark and terrible, I just learned that just feel dark and terrible. I mean, you have to have those days, because when you try to push it down, it's going to come up like an ugly monster anyway. And so trying different things, believe me, I feel like imperfect in how I'm moving forward, but just continuing to move forward and trying things, I think, is the best thing. The best advice I could give people is to start something and then don't try to be perfect about it. I used to be such a perfectionist in that way. And then one of my dance coaches told me one time that perfect dancing is continuing. So if you can just like really continue forward, and having to really talk to myself and go, okay, it's okay, Aimee, that wasn't perfect, or that was a terrible Zoom lesson you just did with your students. Let's try that again and try to make it a little bit better next time. So I would just like one step in front of the other. And believe me, sometimes I feel like, I don't know if I'm doing good or not, but then the results of my clients, it kind of tells me, and when they send me beautiful pictures of their wedding or at the end of the competition, they're just happy. Then I know, okay, so that's good. Just press on, go forward. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What are some lessons that you've learned through dance that have really helped you create the life and the business that you desire?
Oh gosh. Okay. Dance is really tells you a lot about yourself and about people. So wait, ask me your question again, because I want to make sure I answer the question.
Yeah, what lessons have you learned in dancing that have helped you create the life and business that you desire?
Really putting the time in with dancing. The more time you put in, the better results you get. Communication, dancing with a person really helps you about communicating. And so sometimes you have to be a little bit stronger in your communication of what you want. And there's other times where you need to sit back and just listen to what the other person is saying or what they want, and then decide what's really important. Sometimes when two people are dancing together, and this is a lesson in life, by the way, and one wants the dance move to go a certain way, and the other one wants it very, very different. And so you can argue about it and push against the other person. Sometimes push because you're like, no, this is going to work, and let me tell you why. So a lot of communication. But sometimes it's like, okay, you know what? We'll try it your way. Let's see how that goes. So a lot of give and take, dancing is, and yeah, I would say that about communicating with people. It really helps you to communicate with people the best.
Awesome.
And of course, that helps your business and relationships, right? Business is about relationships. That is something that I have to remind myself about too. And I think I know that instinctually, and I do it, but sometimes I have to remember, hey, we got to really spend a little more time with this person. If things aren't working, connecting with them in business, maybe I'm not finding out enough about them and what they want.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I mean, that's like a great lesson. Why do you think you have to remind yourself that business is all about relationships? Like, what's the other side of that? Just seeing business as transactional rather than relationship driven?
Kind of going. Sometimes I can just go and not stop and think about, okay, what am I doing here with this person? So you're making appointments, you're doing this, you're going, maybe doing some choreography and forcing through it. But if it's not working, then you have to go, wait a minute, okay, why is my student here? What is it they want to get out of their idea of their wedding dance or getting ready for a competition? So, getting to know people. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of taking time to slow down. I think a lot of people are just so go. I think so many people are caught up in their identity, and their self-worth is in the production. That when there's moments of nothingness, it can be uncomfortable when somebody's not comfortable in just being themselves with nothing to prove, nothing to defend. And so some of the most powerful relationships that I've built with people is being willing to just be with them. Like just be with them. There's no outcome. Of course I have intentions. Of course I'm chasing things down.
Yes.
Right. And at the same time, I can just be with somebody and I can trust that. And what I mean by that is I can trust in, if it's meant to go places in business, it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's it. And I just let it be what it will be. And sometimes if I'm with somebody and we're not getting the result that I feel like they want, or if I'm not clear, then I may use my ability to communicate, again, just to be with them, just to say, man, I don't know what you want. Like I remember when I first met with you guys, we were at a coffee house cafe. You guys were thinking about starting a podcast, and you guys were going to help local artists and all of that. And
yes, and we actually had already started it. It was called Canvassing DFW. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, yeah. Hey, can I be direct with you? You're like, yeah. And I'm like, you'll never make money with that. I think I said something along those lines.
For sure. Yeah, because we had this great passion, we still do, right? And of doing the podcast. And I was like, and I want to help people. And that's like my main thing. I just woke up the other day thinking, I really like helping people, and so how do we make money doing it? And then you said, there's some people I just recommend just not to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I went, oh, okay, well, But then we got together and we came, you gave us this idea, and Jose was on board with it right away, because our original idea was to interview dancers, musicians, and artists. Right. And by the way, the great art behind me, that was one of the artists that we wanted to promote, Andrew Coaching. And you said, well, why not just focus on dancing? And, so like a little dog, I went, huh? And then it really took off. I am so passionate about dancing. And what it did is it created relationships. So going back to what you said, is this podcast, Dance Teachers Academy, we traveled all over the country and met with champion dancers. And then we started, interviewing some other people too that would help dancers / people. So we've had podcasts about, suicide and about chiropractic, anything that would help the dancer. But that was so amazing to have your coaching and to like really get directed in a certain way. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And so have you found just like making the shift into just focusing on helping the dancers was the thing that kind of gave you like a bucket? I call it like it's like a gym to play in. Like it's your focused area. You're like, cool, how do we help dancers? And then you guys created Dance Teachers Academy to then help dancers, where you're interviewing dancers, you're interviewing production people, and you're using the podcast platform as a way to build relationships. And then in the building of the relationships, these opportunities to solve problems have arisen, and then you guys are solving those problems. And as a result, you get paid, because that's the game of business, is just solving problems.
Yeah. So it was just such a different way to do it, because we were thinking, oh, we're going to somehow get paid to do the podcast. But the thing was, the podcast got us out there, got us seen, again, connecting people relationships. I've been in the full-time ballroom dancer and competitor, for over 25 years. But having the podcast and Jose being there, who's a non-dancer, which I really like that idea. So now we walk in the ballroom and the announcer at the competition will go, "Hey, Jose." And I'm like, "Hey, what about me?" I've been around here, but it's just nice to have that. We form these relationships. Jose has a very opposite personality than me. And it's just amazing, the people that we've met and then the connections that we've met to then create business. And then what I find too is that we have this successful business, Red Light Media, which is under the Amazing Productions. And the people we spend time with, then we actually got really deeper with a lot of people, just spending time with them. Friendships got stronger and deeper, things you can't put a price on at all. Just time with people. Amazing. Yeah. And to find out, like I was a little nervous about being on this podcast and we talked about that. And then to interview like some champion dancers and they talk about their insecurities and lack of confidence. Some of the most confident people are like, and we asked them, what's the thing you struggled with the most? And this one podcast with Tony Redpath, she's one of the most confident women and just beautiful dancer, coach, well-known. She's been, a judge on So You Think You Can Dance. A lot of people know her. And she's like, well, I struggled with self-confidence. It's like, what? Mind blown.
It's kind of crazy, right? Like everybody's this human. We had a saying where the culture I grew up in East Texas, which was everybody puts on their pants one leg at a time. And everybody, if you cut them, bleeds red.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've learned more great sayings living in Texas, I've got to say. Yeah.
We have a lot of them, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. They're great too.
What have been some of your biggest breakthroughs in building this business?
I think the biggest breakthrough for me is like to get out of my own way. And that's why I found that the things going on in my mind were stopping me. I have these, what I call crazy ideas, and then start to pursue them, like the podcast. And then all of a sudden just get so nervous and like, oh my gosh, what do we do? We started doing this. So the, breakthroughs have been like, just knowing that taking time with yourself. I don't do it all the time, but I'm definitely doing it more, meditating and really kind of having that peace. So breaking through to be able to communicate with people that you might think, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can talk to that person because they're so big in the business and I don't know if little me can talk to them. And when a lot of times it's just like, yeah, pick up the phone and send that message, and you'd be surprised how what comes from that. So
when you're picking up the phone to send the message or call or sending the message, how do you guide yourself to like overcoming the fear to then make the call or send the message? Because I think a lot of people get stuck there and they don't lean in past that to actually do the thing.
I usually do it while scared.
Awesome.
So I'm usually like, okay, I just sent that. What did I just do? Yeah. And then something comes back and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I usually just do whatever you think. What's the worst thing that could happen, So yeah, but send that message. Sometimes you can spend a lot of time also trying to word it the right way.
Yeah.
And I think better to just get the message out. Like, ooh, I wish I would have said it that way. But you know what? The message is out.
Awesome.
So that's going back to just like not trying to be perfect. So the moment you think about it and you want to do it, boop, 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 make a little message, send it.
So good. I always just come back to remember that I'm just talking to other humans. Like if I just meet them in life and we're just like, hey, like however I would show up and whatever I'd say there is probably what I should just send the message or make the phone call with, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
What have been some of the biggest mistakes you and Jose have made in building the business?
So I think a mistake would be feeling like you have to keep throwing money into your business when sometimes it's about putting the time in. So I think that's been a mistake, but lesson learned, right? So
yeah.
We did that. I mean, believe me, there's been mistakes. It's like, wow, that was a big mistake. I tell you one big mistake that when we were filming the first time, and Jose had this great concept, which we do now. And I second guessed the concept. And at the last minute, this is one of the first competitions that he filmed, and went back to what I'm just going to call the old way, where of filming a competition. And so I was like, we're going to just do it that way. And it was a disaster. Some really good things came of it. And because we had relationships with people, it was like, okay, yeah, that's fine next time. If something wasn't right, we just, hey, you know what? We don't even like that. You get your money back. Sometimes that happens because we weren't satisfied with
It's amazing
what we were doing then. Yeah. They appreciated that. And guess what? They were the very next year because they remembered that. But the mistake was not sticking with the original plan, the plan that was the new idea that we were so excited about it. So that was a good lesson. Just follow through with your plan. Don't all of a sudden second guess yourself. But there's just that nervousness right before you're going to perform, whether it's perform business-wise or whatever, that you're like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't do it that way. Yeah. So
I love that one of your huge lessons was just like owning it. Like, oh yeah, we don't like this either. Here's your money back. My apologies. Here's what we'll do next time. And you're like, whoa. And they became a client again and again and again. And it's so counterintuitive. But the crazy thing in today's culture is if we'll just take responsibility for when we mess up. It's so refreshing because unfortunately, so few people will do it.
That's right.
That people are just like, oh God, you actually care about people. I love you. I will never leave you. I will use you forever to do this service. And it's very counterintuitive for people to lean in to realize that. Because oftentimes people believe they have to posture, approve, or defend and be like, oh no, we can't let them. But if you'll just be a human and own it. You create a bond with your customer that will like go through anything.
That's amazing. I learned that from a doctor one time. It was a chiropractor, and after an adjustment, he said, I was like, I don't know, something happened and it just doesn't feel right. And he goes, oh no, I know what I did. I did something wrong. And I just was like, wow. I was so impressed with that. That left an impression. He's like, no, I did something and I know what I have to do. And so, yeah, come back. And I was like, great. Okay. But yeah, it's amazing. You almost have them more connected with you when you say that. That wasn't good. We didn't like that here. We'll do it better next time. Yeah, it's amazing. Awesome. Yeah. And I think it's important to say, when you don't know something, and say, I don't know, but I'll find out. So.
And the other thing I want to circle back to is this: you can't solve things with money. Sometimes things are just going to be solved with time.
Yeah.
I find a
Yes.
lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, when they have more money than they have time, they
Mhm.
often do throw money at problems. Legitimately throw money, just like, throw money, just fix
Yes.
it. And sometimes you're right. Sometimes it is just like, whoa, there's a new level of responsibility required by me. And the only way to solve this specific problem is like me getting into the trenches, me spending some time and buttoning this up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how did you come to that awareness?
Well, when you have debt, you have to really look at yourself and go, we've got to do things differently.
Awesome.
So, yeah, sometimes it's like painful happens, and you're like, okay, I got to make a change here. Uh, so, and then looking back and just going, okay, well, when I spent time with these people, interviewing them and then following through and having friendships, that brought more than throwing money in this certain direction. And then planning. So I am guilty of just going. I can just like go, 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 go. So to stop and plan, and I still need to plan better, but just doing more planning. And then when you plan, then you can also, make sure that your money is going in the right places. Now we're talking about throwing money at things, but sometimes there's absolutely the time to invest. And I have to say it was worth so much to spend time having coaching with you, and ultimately saving time and money, because you did help us to get really focused in on what we needed to do in the direction. And once you have your direction, then you also have a revitalized passion and excitement and energy for that initial idea. So it's important to kind of understand to definitely spend the time and the money for investment in coaching. I can't emphasize that enough. I think it's incredible. And maybe not having to save the money and not doing so much traveling. You don't always have to travel. So that's where we ended up spending a lot of time. We'll still do that, but maybe we won't do it as much as we had done in the past.
Awesome.
So that racked up a lot of money there.
Amazing. And if you could go back in time and give yourself, your younger self, some wisdom that would help her collapse time and get results faster, what would you tell her?
See, part of me wouldn't do things different. Part of me would just say, the journey that I took and the mistakes I made really helped to form the person that I am. So I would say to really just believe in yourself a lot more. The ideas that you have, they are right on. And no matter what anyone tells you, keep forward with it.
Awesome. And what do you think may happen? Not that it can, but let's pretend like in a magic fantasy land, you could go back in time to you who was 20 years old and tell her that, hey, believe in your ideas. Like you're worthy of it. You deserve it. You're super smart. And you told her that, and she believed it and she executed on it. How different might potentially your life be today?
I think I would spend more time have spent more time on my competitive dancing and taken that a little further. The professional, I've been doing a lot of competition with professional and amateur. So I would just really put that time into my own professional dancing career, because I really enjoyed that. But there was something else about the question that you said. I feel like I'm not answering it.
So like in doing that, would you think by now you would have a bigger network? You would have more reach? You would have more fulfillment? You would have, I don't know, I'm just curious. Like I can, so let me apply this to me. Cause I hear this sometimes when you ask people, like, if you go back in time and give yourself some wisdom, some people are like, I wouldn't change anything because it's made me who I am today. And that is true. That is absolutely 100% true.
Yeah.
And also me trying that on, I'm like, well, I would tell myself, number one, you're fucking awesome. Believe in yourself. Stop looking out there for validation and approval because you're enough. You don't need anything out there to validate that you're enough. So stop with the bullshit. And if I would have got that, I'm not saying I would have got that at 16 years old or 18 years old, but let's pretend like I did at 16. Mm-hmm. My life today would look radically different. It would look radically different. I would have made a lot more money. I had a lot more reach, a lot more influence, potentially, maybe not. Maybe things are predestined. We could go down a rabbit hole on that one. But if I had the certainty then that I have now, there's no doubt in my mind that I would create things faster.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have more certainty.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, everything would be different. My marriage would be different. My place I live, like everything would be different. It would probably be similar experience, but it would be a different experience, an exponentially different experience.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Creating things faster. That's a really good point. I would be creating things faster without as much pain.
Yeah.
And as you were talking to me, I was recalling, like, sometimes worried about what other people were thinking, and so making my decisions in that. And what that affected was in selecting certain coaches, dance coaches, to help us along in our professional career, because I wanted to please certain people. Yep. And if we had selected a different coach, we would have had faster results and better results.
Yep.
So, I mean, I can think of a specific.
Yep.
one. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
awesome.
Yeah. People, awesome. That can be a problem.
It's a huge problem for a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah. I've got to try to balance that, right? Because I have a personality that I love to help people. So yeah, find that balance. It makes sense.
So where can people go learn more about you, what you have going on?
So amazingproductions.com, and my first name is spelled AIMEE, and then amazingproductions.com. And so Amazing Productions is Red Light Media, Amazing Dancer, and Dance Teachers Academy podcast.
Awesome. And how are you guys helping people outside of, are you guys filming dance competitions? You're helping couples also be able to have amazing dances. Sarah and I had worked with you, yes. Hired you, and we had a really awesome dance. We gave you a pretty crazy challenge to pull off in a very short amount of time.
I love your story. Yes.
And you pulled it off. You pulled it off for this guy.
Your wife has some crazy ideas.
Oh, I know. I'm very aware of them. I know.
But no, that was awesome. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
We met. This is a beautiful story. I love the way that we met. As I love Sarah, and she came in, you two came in and for getting ready for your first dance, and she wanted to do 4 dances.
She sure did. 4 different styles.
4 different styles in 5 lessons.
She did.
In like 5 weeks or something like that. Yep. It was a very short amount of time. Is that right? Am I
something like that? Yeah.
Yes. And so there was a beautiful, like, Viennese waltz, a tango, and she wanted to do salsa, and then the
or Romanian, I don't know what style the thing is called.
Right. And oh my gosh. And the funny thing is, so people call in, and then there's always some conversation. Guess what this person called in and asked for? And it's like a running joke in the studio. So at first you guys were, sorry.
Hey, we'll take it.
It's like behind the scenes, but sure. But someone comes in, they're like, we want to do this and that. And so I do have to balance people's dreams with reality, right? Okay, I want to absolutely give you your dream, but reality. Okay, so the reality is we need to cut one of these dances out, or cut some of them out. And so she was explaining what she wanted to do. And I was like, okay, so we could do the Viennese waltz and we could do the tango. So let's cut out the salsa, because they were very dramatic, the Viennese waltz and the tango.
Yep.
So the salsa just went kind of a different direction, and I felt like keeping in the theme. And I was like, let's cut out that Romanian dance. But she was persistent and she wanted to keep it. And we did. And it was part of practice, but it was getting you, so you were the leader, right?
And I'm a terrible dancer, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know. I'm white and I'm a very awkward dancer. Let's just go ahead and say that.
Well, as the professional dancer here, I respectfully disagree with you. But what we have to do anytime an instructor, and I love working with wedding couples, because it's like I get to create, and I do always have a short amount of time. And so how can I get you to, fulfill your dream in a short amount of time and be so happy and excited about your wedding dance? Because most guys come in, she made me come in and I'm here because she forced me. They got their arms crossed. They don't want to be there. So we talked about, and I asked questions. I got to know you. And we talked about, I will ask, have you played an instrument before? Have you played sports? Come to find out, AJ's a rock star.
That's right.
A rock and roll band. So we talked about that and the theater of that. There's always something to pull from, whether it's sports or, a musical background. That was great that you had theater. So I really loved what we did. And we got you thinking kind of regally and like a rock star, but on the dance floor. And there is certain techniques to do that where you can, like you say, collapse time and get you out there for a performance. And it's not what most people think. It's not getting it perfect. It's creating pretty pictures, right? For the camera, but we're still dancing. It's just, I do things in a very strange and rebellious way, but there's a method to my madness, and I've got good reviews to prove it.
Yeah, totally. Hey, I'll tell you too, like everybody that was at our wedding, which was quite a few people, we did a cruise, and I thought like, 7-day cruise, probably 20 people out of all the people we invite will come. That was not the case. We had 62 people join us for a week-long vacation, essentially. The wedding was on day 6 of 7, which was perfect because everybody knew each other at a very deep level by then. Because we were eating together, we're doing adventures together. So we pulled off the dance perfectly. And
wasn't there like a fountain? You had to dance in front of a fountain too.
There was a fountain behind it. Yeah, there was a fountain.
Behind you.
Yeah, behind us. So our dance floor was a smaller area, but we pulled it off. And the cool thing is when we did the Romanian running in a circle thingy, I don't know what you call that, but that's their tradition. Everybody joined us. All 62 people were running around in a circle.
So cool.
Romanian stuff. And it was a good time. It was awesome. And we couldn't have pulled it off. Sarah probably could. I couldn't have pulled it off without your help because you made it simple. And we took the complex stuff out of it because Sarah's a good dancer. We're like, let's just stay with the basic structure. I can memorize that.
Yeah.
And so we did, and we pulled it off. And less is always more. And that's all thanks to you.
And it was very theatrical.
It was.
Yeah. So it was good. And I think before, when you first came in, you were the one a little more nervous about the dancing.
Yeah, because I have a big story that I'm not a very good dancer. I just haven't put in the work. I haven't put in the time.
Teacher. Yeah. So I think you told me that on the day of, you were the one that was confident, and then she was a little nervous.
Totally. I'm one of those people. If you give me the framework and the structure, I will put in the time. And I had put in the time. Like every day, I was taking out the trash at the house or whatever. I was walking in the steps and memorizing. Like it's how I did a music career. I'm not a great musician, but what I am really good at is working diligently on something I care about. And I'll memorize something and then I can go perform it just because I've put in so much time and work and learning the thing. And then when performance day comes, it's like, aren't you nervous? No, I've worked my ass off. I know exactly how this is going to play out. So no problems.
Nice.
Awesome.
Love the story. Yeah.
Well, Aimee, thanks for being here. Make sure you guys go check her out. It's amazing production.
Amazingproductions.com. Yes.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, AJ, a pleasure.
Well, there you have it, my friend, the amazing Aimee. I hope you got a lot from this episode. And if it inspired you some way, I would love to hear about it. Simply take a screenshot of you listening to this podcast on your device, post it over on your Instagram stories, and tag me at AJ Aimee. And also, let's tag Aimee. Her Instagram handle is Amazing Dancer. So it's at AIMEEZING Dancer. Amazing Dancer. So tag Aimee over on Instagram. Tag me at AJ Aimee over on your Instagram stories. So that's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, my friend, I'm out. Peace.
Well, that's all I've got for this episode of the Anthony John Aimee podcast, but we have plenty more to help you become unstoppable in life and business. So head on over to ajaimix.com for exclusive resources, information, and tools to help you break through to a new level of freedom, purpose, and success. I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Bye for now.